I'm trying to have multiple chains around my neck, multiple Cubans around my neck. Around my neck, bitch. Don't talk the news if it ain't about a check. Don't take that.
What's good, everybody? DJ TMac here for another great hip-hop conversation. We don't necessarily have a independent hip-hop artist in the building, but we have somebody who's been mentioned many times on this podcast. He is an integral part of 7 News Arts and Entertainment, the mind behind a lot of the things that come out with the camp. And we have him here in the studio today. Basement, welcome, man.
Peace. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Happy to have you in here. Wanted to talk to you for a while, and glad we are able to do it right now. You know, a lot has been happening with news, arts, and entertainment recently. Most recently, the Prospect Lake project came out with O Finess and Eddie James. Before we go any further, let's just talk about that right there. What's the response been like? Just talk about that project.
I think the response has been phenomenal, especially on a local level. You know, at the local level, you tend to get a lot of crickets from your spectators just because they know you. It's a little complacency because they're so close to you. But there's been a lot of great response, just at least on that level, which is that's a major feat to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, the project virtually came out the blue. It came together very quick, but it was super strong. It's been great, man. A lot of new partnerships developed just on that one project. Mm-hmm. We've got a video finally dropping off of that projjet.
Hey, yeah, we're waiting on that
we
one.
dropped that project on my birthday, October 7th. Okay, so here we are, January. We're about to drop a monumental piece of visual off the project. So by the time this airs, I think it'll probably already be out.
Okay, nice. Yeah, we got the trailer out right now, so people got a little taste of what it is. And from the people I showed and shared it with, man, they're looking forward to it. Yes. So to be at that video shoot, it was really cool, man, to see it all come together. I'd never been to a studio like that. Watching Clever work was really cool. Watching all the guys, do their parts was very interesting and fun and cool to get behind the curtain. How did that remix come together? Now that we're on the topic, that's pretty monumental. It features the Mussolini, which is not too much of a surprise, but Flea Lord is also on the track.
Yeah.
How did that connection come together?
Shout out Flea Lord.
Shout out.
Really, I mean, so Finesse and Eddie James, that's my cousin and my brother. They played the record for me, and as soon as I heard it, it was dope. It's probably the hardest shit out at the time that I heard, so I was like, yo, I hear Flea Lord on this shit. Just came up out of nowhere. Mind you, I met Flea Lord a couple times prior. We chopped it up a few times. So I just wanted to take advantage of, my connection to him and turn it into some business and turn it into some art. So I reached out to him, and as you can see, we made it happen, man.
Yeah, really cool play. It looks like you guys were working also that weekend that the music video shoot happened. So we should expect some more features and crossover between the camps?
Yeah, just keep your ears tuned in, keep your eyes open. We got work coming, man.
Mm-hmm. So before we go any further, what is your role in 7 News Entertainment? Kind of break it down for the people. Role and roles, because I'm sure there's more than just one.
I mean, 7 News Entertainment, News Arts and Entertainment is, at the end of the day, it's just a family business. And it's what we do is with our endeavors in art and entertainment. And, I hate to use this analogy, but it's like a Voltron thing. Everybody has the role that they play. Some of us have various roles, and I'm just more like a glue. I kind of help facilitate and make things come together. My cousin might shoot me an idea, and I'm like, yo, let's move on that. And so I'm help motivate him to move. He helps motivate me to move, and before you know it, we materialize something out of that. So I'm just kind of all over the place, omnipresent. I want to make sure that everything we do is of a high quality, great quality. So I just kind of facilitate and move between all those things. It's like an electron around a nucleus, just bouncing around, and it's just an essential part of making things happen. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of pretty much what I do, man. You know, I executive produce a lot of the projects. I mean, everybody does their work. You know, I'm allowed to bring some of my feedback in. They shoot a lot of the music to me, a lot of the ideas to me, and you know, I yay it or nay it, or elaborate on what we could do or should do. Mm-hmm. You know, that's kind of around the board. We all do that. News is just something that came up a while ago, man, that kind of came out of my mind, and everybody gravitated toward it. It was magnetic, so that's what we running with. That's what we've been running with.
What's the origin story? Where did it come from?
So news entertainment started off probably in 1994, 1995. Me and one of my partners, Black Science, from Black Divinity Music, another crew out of Colorado Springs. We was rappers at the time, and we felt like we was universal. It had to be universal. So it felt like, how are you everywhere? What encompasses being everywhere? And the word encompass made me think of compass, north, east, west, and south. So that's being everywhere. And that's kind of what it initially was, 7 News. You know, 7 represents God, and God is omnipresent everywhere at all times. And that's where the news came from. And then probably, I think around, probably be around maybe 2000. Just one day out the blue, the new acronym came to me. Now everyone will see. And that was powerful to me. That was strong. Because that's exactly what aspiring artists want people to see what they do. And saying it like that, now everyone will see, kind of gave a point of determination about what we're going to do.
You're proclaiming it.
Correct. And so we've been on a mission. And that's what we're doing right now.
So started out rapping back in the day. That's pretty interesting. I didn't necessarily know that. How long did you do that for? Do you still lay down some bars every now and then? When did sort of like the transition happen from making music to, you know, sort of working on the back end, if you will?
Well, I'll start with the transition. The transition started when we just really wanted to be serious about it. So initially it was me and Blannco. Mind you, me and O Finess, we've been rapping since we was kids, you know, 91, 90, you know, kids. And, you know, time went by, you've been doing it, whatever. But then Blannco was doing good. He was showing some potential, and he was serious about his shit. He was taking steps to put his shit out, whether we was fucking with him or not. And I kind of gravitated towards that. And then at some point he sent me, my brother, Eddie James, was always making dope beats since the early Fruity Loop days. I bought that first program for him, and, you know, he kind of took off from there. But my bro made a fucking beat that I liked a lot. So I'm like, Blannco, check this shit out. So Blannco jumped on it and dropped some dope shit on it. I was like, fuck, I like that. So now I was like, fuck it, I'm going to hop on there too. So we did one. It's called Anti-Bullshit. It's on an album that's not circulating right now. We got it tucked in the vault. But as soon as I did that, I kind of felt like that was the spark to where Finess was like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, y'all, I got to be part of this. I'm about to get on my shit. Then my bro came back to Colorado from L.A. He kind of, now we're all together. So it's like there's just a lot of work going on. And we just started getting serious about it. Like, you know, finishing a song, like, yo, next song. And then you got 5, 6 songs done. Now you really want somebody to hear it and see it and know what you're doing. But we didn't want to be just, first off, we're a little too old just to be, you know, on the fucking bandwagon just trying to throw shit out. So we really wanted to be serious in a serious way with it. So we just started getting serious. And when that happened, you know, Finess is nice, Blannco's nice, Eddie James wasn't even rapping at the time. Eddie James just started rapping like out the fucking blue, literally. And the first rhyme he did was like, yo, been rapping a long fucking time. How you get that nice on one fucking rap? So after that, I kind of just figured like, all right, so we need somebody to help facilitate, getting this shit out, putting this shit down. And when I was rapping and doing shit, I didn't really have that. Finesse didn't really have, we only had just us. But we was kids at the time, so we didn't have the bigger homies there with us every day, kicking it with us and have that belief or that energy from us to put it into us like that. So I don't know, it just felt natural for me to do that. And so that just kind of, you get enveloped in that type of shit to where, fuck, they nice. Let's just, we don't need one more guy rapping to get there. Now what we need to do is get the 3 nice motherfuckers that's going. Let's get it rolling. So I kind of I did what I needed to do. And that's what we do today.
Nice, man. I like it. I love the backstory. It's great. I appreciate you being in here and break it down, because all the other guys have been on the channel for the most part and have given me, bits and pieces of the story. So I like to hear your perspective and your version as well. When you first started sort of making music, and were you releasing music in the 90s? Because obviously back then it was very different how you released music, the goals of artists at that time compared to today. So talk about sort of your mindset at that time, how far you guys got. Were you releasing music, like singles? Like what kind of stuff were you doing back then?
It was definitely way different back then. There was no signs of social media. The social media wasn't even a term that was coined
Internet
yet.
Barely even around.
Correct. Internet was fresh and new. At that time when we started, you could have gotten a .com boom and been mega rich right now. So it was super early in the days. Doing music then was way different. I was one of those types of artists that would go in, drop a good 16, and then I would kind of lose it. Like, how do I finish this song up? So I never really made it to releasing out a lot of music. A lot of the groundwork of doing art for your albums, and I did all that, but never really dropped anything. So, But that was all valuable experience that now makes what we do now kind of like you already know what you're doing without having really done it before, but you've been so close there that it just seems normal. You don't have to really go study and practice and ask a million questions. It's just we kind of know. So we was already on the cusp of it then. All the music I did back then is in cassette boxes in the shoebox over the homie's house or under the bed or in the storage. A few CDs that are lingering around with some super dope gems on it. I might have a couple joints from back then on my phone.
Okay.
Some freestyle sessions with me and Finesse and shit. Crazy beats from fucking Eddie James on there.
Nice, man. You're gonna have to let me hear some of that, man. Let your boy in on some of that.
Man. Yeah.
Serato is crazy now with the new update. I don't know if you've seen, but you're able to separate all the different like tracks of the music pretty much. So I can get an acapella from any song I want now without just downloading the acapella. I can click the button that just says vocals. It'll just play the vocals. I can click the drums on. It's the vocals and the drums.
You're working yourself into some extra work now, right?
Hey, I was practicing yesterday, man. I was having some fun with some J Dilla beats and some O Finess. You know what I mean? It sounds real nice together.
Yeah.
Sounds real nice.
Yeah.
Is there any mistakes from that time maybe that you could share with the people that might still be like relevant today in making music, trying to release music, relationships in the industry? What sort of mistakes did you make back then?
I wouldn't say that they're mistakes. After all this time's gone by and looking back, in hindsight, they're not really mistakes. These are things that you have to do that might not give you the results you wanted, but that doesn't necessarily make it a mistake. They're definitely, it seems super cliche, but they're more lessons to help strengthen your knowledge base.
Of course, yeah.
To be a little more efficient with what you do. So, definitely same thing you hear from everybody, man. Stay what's the word I want to use? You want to stay determined. You know, there's a lot of shit that can have you discouraged. I mean, just doing art, man, and trying to be received well could be discouraging. Just stay pointing about your shit, stay at it, and shit, do what you got to do, man. Be patient. Everything takes time. Everybody thinks you're gonna drop the song or drop the album, and boom, you're fucking whatever your idea of success is, you're there right off the rip. Probably not. I mean, it's possible, but probably not. So you're gonna have to exercise some patience and some diligence to really get to that. And you know, they say it takes 10 years to actually make it, be famous or whatever it is. I don't know how long it is exactly, but it's not immediate. It does take some time. So be ready for the 10-year ride. You know what I'm talking about?
Gems, man. Keep it pushing, guys. Keep it pushing.
Yeah, if you don't got 10 years, if you want to make it in music or fucking racing cars or shooting basketball, whatever it is, if you're not really ready with a 10-year determination for it, then find something else that you have a 10-year determination for and work at that.
There you go. Simple as that. It's simple as that, you know. Be careful at what you get good at. That's a quote I heard before, and, you know, it relates to me. I've been in a lot of jobs that I didn't really like, but I was really good at the time. So I was the lead guy somewhere, you know, you feel stuck somewhere. But, yeah, man, find what you're good at and you know, try to expand on that any way you can. Talk about growing up in Colorado Springs and how that influenced you and sort of maybe your music. Was it a very musical place at the time? It seems, I also want to ask you about sort of the Denver and Colorado music market. It seems to be growing a lot now. Maybe just since I'm here, I see a lot more of it and am exposed to a lot more of it. So talk about sort of growing up in Colorado Springs at the time when you started making music, started getting into it, and, you know, the growing music market, if that's a thing.
I'll start that by saying there's no place like home. You know, this is where I was born and raised in Colorado Springs. I would say it's not so much about the music in Colorado Springs as it is the music that I was influenced by and grew up with in my household or in my family's households. We just grew up in a family that was inclined with a lot of music. From my grandparents, one side of my family is one side of my family was blues, another side of my family was jazz. You know, my stepdad, from my dad, old R&B, fucking reggae. You know what I'm saying? So much different music we grew up on as kids is kind of where the influence came from. I was more oblivious to what culture was as a kid as opposed to my upbringing. So I think that's where, you know, all my musical inclination came from. As far as the scene and, you know, between Denver and Colorado, I mean, that thing is changed so much over the years. We'd have to kind of go into a generational thing.
Let's break it down.
You know, at the time when I was coming up and really wanting to, you know, be a rapper or any of that type of shit, it was definitely way more underground, if you will. There was not as many people trying to do it, and if there were, you didn't really know about them at all. As opposed to the guys that you did know about, still weren't very well known, but it was just a smaller skillet to cook in. Mm-hmm. And now it's a much bigger skillet with a whole lot more ingredients in it. I think both ways have been good. I think it's just kind of a natural progression or evolution of how things kind of work. In anything, whether it's music or businesses. The cities weren't this big 20 years ago. And just like any other city, they start adding on and getting more of this and that. So I think the music thing has been the same thing.
Is there something specific about Colorado and the growth that you've seen with it? Or you think, like you kind of said, most cities, you know, they just tend to add and build, and then more influences will come into it. What's your like perspective on that?
I think the thing with Colorado is that people don't expect anything of value as far as music to come from here. They wouldn't expect to come here and hear an artist or bump into an artist or a sound that they're attracted to, that they might gravitate towards. Because this is Colorado. They're thinking cows, cowboys. You know, that's
straight
just,
mountains. That's all I thought before I came out here.
They don't think that there's culture here. So I think that's what makes Colorado special is we call it the box state. I look at it like a gift box, just like on Christmas. Most of those gifts come in boxes versus a lot of people think box state. They're thinking a cardboard box with the tape on it, and it's just that. No, this is a gift box because you open this up and there's some surprises in here. So, you know, shout out to the box state, man. All the artists out here doing their thing, grinding. There's a lot of different sounds. You can hear a lot of Southern influence, a lot of West Coast influence, a lot of East Coast influence. And I think there's a handful of artists that you find out here that they don't quite sound like East Coast all the way. Not necessarily South, not necessarily West. So I think that's the Colorado sound that you're hearing. And it just hasn't been going long enough for it to be designated the Colorado sound yet. It's going to take a little more time. Again, patience. A 10-year thing. You know what I'm talking about? 10 years is pretty much a generation. You know, if you got a brother 10 years younger than you, he's a generation younger than you. He's coming up in a whole different era of music, and there's a whole bunch of other shit that 10 years ago wasn't there that's available for him now. So I've kind of noticed that is part of the growth and progression of life, man.
You answered my next question, which was going to be, is there a Colorado sound? Because I've gone out to some shows. I hear a lot of different sounds, a lot of different styles. Like you said, some East Coast, some West Coast, some Southern, some neither, so some, none of that. So it's very interesting to hear you put it in them terms, and I think you broke it down correctly from what I've seen so far. I love it, man.
I think that's what it is, man. I think, subconsciously the artists that have their own particular sound or whatever they're influenced by, I think as they continue to do music, people come into their own. You might be influenced by a Mac Dre, so when you start rapping and coming out, you kind of have that sound. You're not trying to bite, but that's your influence. That's year one. By the time year 5 comes around, if you stick to it, now you kind of sound like who you are. You know what I'm saying? So, again, it's just a natural progression of life. Life is bigger than culture. Culture is just a way of life. A way is just only one path. There's many ways. So it's a progression of life. That's how life goes, man. And culture is it's still within that. It's still encompassed by that. So
Colorado's got a unique culture, unique community, and it's great to sort of, start to get ingrained in it. You talked about how going from music to sort of, the more business background aspect was a pretty natural transition for you. Are there influences that you saw in music that sort of made a similar transition? Obviously, we've seen Jay-Z. Nas now is like a big businessman as well, mogul. Were there influences within hip-hop or outside of hip-hop that you kind of saw doing that type of work and you were like, oh, maybe that's something I could do as well?
I mean, I've had influences outside of music first. My dad was always a hard worker. He always instilled in me, you got to earn everything you want. It's just not going to land in your lap. I don't give a fuck how much you pray for it or how much you beg. Is just not going to land in your lap. You got to get up and go get it.
The secret don't necessarily work the way it says it does, right?
All that came from my family members at the end of the day. And then, outside of my household, you start, you look into music and you start seeing certain things going on. I could say Master P. And I didn't even really fuck with that type of music back then. But, I knew who they were. There's certain songs I liked and shit. And just to see the progression over a short period of time, that's something I looked at like, damn, I would love to just come from nowhere, work my ass off and get to that level of success and notoriety for it. I mean, all the names you named are people that I still look up to like that. I mean, some of these people, for instance, like Nas was just a dope rapper for years on end. Nobody really cared about what type of business he was doing. Now it's kind of cliche for a rapper to be doing some business. You can't even be a really dope rapper no more if you're not if people are not hearing about your extra ventures, your tech venture, or your fucking business investments and all that shit. So now that's also become, again, cliche, something that's second nature for you to be, top of the heap, one of the best rappers. You could be a dope ass lyricist, but if don't nobody hear about your business shit, then they're looking at you like, So I think all that stuff is just kind of, again, something that comes with the territory. I think it just became natural, man, to just want to do that. I want everybody around me to be successful. And, more people working towards the same goal is going to get you there quicker than one person. And so if everybody's in the crew rapping or making beats, and nobody's focused on trying what we're going to do with all this, then it's just overabundance of a resource that you can't do nothing with. It's got to have an application to it. So that's where the business part, it's just natural. If you're sitting around in a room full of gold bricks, what are you going to do with them? You got to be able to apply them somehow, figure out how to turn it into, I hate to use the word monetize, because that makes people think of paper money.
Like you're just trying, yeah.
Yeah, but you have to find a way to take the resource and make it applicable. And so I got, Mussolini. I got some of the dopest people around me in the world. So I just want to help make all that shit applicable.
Nice, man. I love it. I love it.
I don't know. Did we get off a subject a little bit?
Maybe, but
Okay,
whatever
right
we're
on.
talking about is perfect.
Right
You know
on.
what I mean? This is
Right on.
conversations with TMac. There's no specific road, I do like to lay my interviews out sort of chronologically, though. So let's talk about news a little bit more before the No Squares in My Circle connection and album sort of came together.
Yes.
So you talked about the first joint, I forget the name of it, that where you rapped. Was it you, Eddie, and Blannco all got on a track?
Yeah, that was Eddie James on the beat, Blannco song, and I was featured on it called Anti-Bullshit.
So you said that's one where like Finess was like, all right, we have something here, you as well. There's been a lot of time from then to now, I would imagine. Is there another song that you were there for during the recording process, putting it together, or just hearing it afterwards where you were like, damn, we really have something. Like we're not just on like the amateur level, the underground level.
Right.
Like this is like, we're really doing something. Was there like a specific song that sticks out?
To be honest, no. I mean, I've been there for a lot of it. Probably 98% of every song you've heard, I'm there on the couch, chilling, knocked out. You know what I mean? But I might be in my own little zone doing my own thing, but my ears and my peripheral is seeing what's going on, and I'm taking notes and I'm calculating. And I might not say nothing about it at the moment just because I don't want to. Y'all do what y'all do,
Disrupt
handle
the
your
flow
business
or
right,
whatever it is.
And when it's time, we'll get to that. So I've been there for a lot, man. This shit's quality, man. When we was kids, O Finess, boy been nasty since we was young. I mean, I remember just on some real amateur level shit, going to battle rap shits. He walking home with the trophy. And y'all wasn't there for some of that shit then, so I'm seeing it like, damn, my cousin fucking nice. Shit. I wouldn't have the guts to get in front of motherfuckers and start battling and shit. This motherfucker's doing it and bringing trophies home. So I just always believed in it since we was little. I mean, who the fuck else do I got to believe in? But besides believing in ourselves. So, there's some records that don't see the light of day because it's like, so it's not like everything's coming out 100% butter. But the raw ingredients is there, and what we do release is that.
Absolutely, man. It's all been top tier since I first heard O Finess. I believe it was on Blood Diamonds, and then did more digging after that into the whole crew, which consists of many people, 7 News Arts and Entertainment, but the main artists are O Finess, Blannco, and Eddie James. Correct?
Correct.
Anybody else that we should include in this core?
Not at the moment in this interview.
Okay. All right. Maybe the next one. All right, you guys stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe. We got all the basement's information below, so make sure you connect, subscribe, all that good stuff. Support 7 News, Arts, and Entertainment. All right. You know, we got a few pieces right here. You know, Prodigal Son.
Prodigal Son.
Hey, let's talk about this album a little bit. Talk about putting this one together. This was the
shout
first.
Shout out to Clipto Beats.
Oh, shout out to Clipto. Yeah, fully produced by Clipto. All O Finess, really from his mind, his vision. Talk about this project, putting it together, you know, putting it out. We got physicals for it. Break it down.
Honestly, at the end of the day, that's probably one of the projects where O Finess really turned into a CEO, because he handled most of that on his own. Quite a bit of it, from the artwork selection to distribution to the production, as far as producing physicals. And I mean, he really took the reins on that one. Gave me a fucking break at the end of the day. So I don't want to take any credit that I'm not due. I mean, he ran a lot of it by me when songs were being made. Beat selections was there. I was there. Yesing or knowing or woo, that type of shit with certain shit. But he did that on his own, man. So I was proud of him for that shit. It's definitely a classic album. If you haven't heard that one, you need to wake the fuck up and tune in. The album's crazy. We did drop a video off of that one.
Dutta Man.
Dutta Man.
I was there for that one as
go.
well.
Dutta
That
Man
was
is
the
crazy.
cool video.
Eddie Mayweather, I'm pound for pound. Costa Zua clan. Got Zab Judas. And the breath of life gon' control the count. Point at me, go, James.
Yo, man, you know the rules. Us brothers don't get high. Shut the fuck up, man. They just tried to call you a non-talking bastard.
Confined and dwell in the corners of hell. I can forget the stench of that 2-man cell. The 40 cal bigger than the nose on Toucan Sam. I'm in the Grand International with the turbo cam. Guys filled with GMOs, we trying to break the cheat code. Bullets in the heads of those that couldn't keep cold. My rashes won't fold, and Ferragamos with hard soles. We ain't fishing, but I had the pole, bumping soul to soul.
Hell, you know, when you're an independent label, you can do what you want to do. So keep an eye out. We got some more visuals coming from that album.
Ooh.
Calm down.
Hold on. What are we talking about? Okay. Well, stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
You guys will know when it drops. I'm going to put you on the spot. Favorite track off the album?
Ah, damn. So that's crazy, because I was talking to Finesse about this album probably yesterday or maybe the day before yesterday. Literally talking to him about this same album. And let me look at, I ain't gonna lie, man, it's really hard to choose. It just depends on what day it is, bro. I'm like a mood person when it comes to music.
Depends on the mood.
Some days you feel like you want to wake up.
All different vibes on
and
this
you
album.
want it to be rainy outside, because I'm not feeling a sunny day. I gotta get up and move around. I just want to chill and relax and hear the rain drop. There's a certain song on this album that fucking plays on that. So it's the whole album's though, man. It just depends on the mood. We shot Dutta Man at first because that's what we was feeling at that time.
That goes so hard, bro. That one like really sticks out on the album.
It just sticks out. And there's a lot of other dope tracks on here that we really wanted to try to, you know, it boils down to resources at the time. Timing is everything. Timing is so fucking important when it comes to fucking doing business. Hell, doing art is crazy. Doing music for sure. Timing is everything. So there's a lot we wanted to do with this project, and just some of the timing was just not on. But that's why we're blessed to be independent and do it how we want to do it, call it how we call it. So again, we got more coming from the Prodigal Son, man.
I love it, man. That's really one of my favorite projects. Definitely a staple in O Finess's catalog. It's not on streaming platforms, but it is on Bandcamp.
Yeah, go get you a copy. Y'all don't know. Hit O Finesse, O_Finesse 78.
Yep.
It was limited. I don't even know. I got my couple copies.
Yeah. It was only 50, so I got mine. Hope you got yours. So this came out after No Squares in My Circle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it did.
So talk about from your perspective, how this album came together. I talked about Blood Diamonds being the first song that I heard from them. I believe that was the first one that they actually did together as well. That was on Mussolini's project, Return of the Oro, I believe.
Yes.
And so, from your perspective, No Squares in My Circle, talk about how the album came together.
Very organic. We linked up with Moose. Meeting Moose and linking with Moose that's like when you go to the family reunion and you got a cousin that's about your age that you've never met. Everybody's in their 20s or 30s, so we didn't even get to grow up together or nothing, but you meet them and there's just something already there built in. So it's just, we don't have to sit down and talk about it and do this whole little, song and dance trying to be cool with it. It's just there. It was just there. So, we linked up and motherfuckers just started working. Sending beats over, sending verses back and forth. I was speaking to Moose, about the project. He was there's a lot of politics that go on, deals for albums, and I was just hearing some of the shit that was going on. I just felt like, yo, man, we should do this. We could probably do this ourselves. Just in the name of experience. Just to do it.
From really start to finish.
Yeah.
Recording, mixing, whatever it is, to producing the vinyl, advertising, getting it out there,
in-house.
Everything you really wanted to get experience with.
Everything
with this album.
in-house.
This
We
project.
had there was none of the big homies that we probably could have tapped and been like, yo, what do you think? Or can you point me out over here and show me how? We did this by ourselves, man. So really, for me, this was something to where I felt like we do this, people gotta respect us. You ain't even gotta like us. You can hate the fucking music. But when you look at the product we put out, you gotta respect it. Yeah. That's what it was about for me. This is still one of the illest vinyls in the game to this day. If you haven't seen the No Squares in My Circle, OBI pictured this vinyl, I put my money on that one. That's probably one of the best, nicest, prettiest vinyls out. Plus, the music on it is insane.
Yeah, man, that's one of the tops in my collection for sure. Like, the disc is crazy, and I just love the vibe of the album, that Box Apple connection.
Yes, yes, the Box Apple thing, man. I could start elaborating on the whole Box Apple thing and
talk about it.
That's a whole vibe. The whole Box Apple thing is a vibe. As youngins, a lot of what we dealt with culturally was based out of the East Coast, and a lot of it was predominantly in New York. So to become, to be kids and then grow up and become men, and now we're actually, doing business between Colorado and New York. That was something that was proud thing. Those are proud things for us. So, I don't know where it came. I think O Finess came up with the Box Apple thing, but that's what it is. Just moving into working with Flea, it just kind of made sense to make those things happen. So,
connections getting stronger.
Yeah, you got to network for your net worth. You know what I mean? If your network ain't about shit, then you have no connection. It's just like when you on the internet. If your network is bad, you can't get no fucking work done.
You ain't getting nowhere.
It's taking way long, so you have to network for your fucking net worth. And I know it rhymes and it sounds like, you think you fucking cool.
Sounds like
but
a
it's
real
truth. It's a cool truth. So I didn't make it up. I'm just living by it, man. We just working by it.
Let's go. Let's talk a little bit more about No Squares in My Circle and really the vinyl production of it.
Will you pull that off the wall?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Let's get to it. So, nowadays, I know the struggle of getting a vinyl because I'll order it sometimes and I won't get it for 6 months, 8 months, a year sometimes. So I know that there's not many vinyl factories in the world producing vinyl, but obviously it's sort of becoming like a popular thing again to own vinyl and get a collection. So what was the process like of going through and actually producing the vinyl?
Honestly, it wasn't that hard. It was fairly simple. It does take some fucking time though. I don't want to leak too much. Some people have to go through this shit on their own to really appreciate it and to be successful at it. So I don't want to give up too much game or too much information about the process, because then you get to skip over a lot of shit and then you miss the experience. And you need that experience. There's a lot of shit, you bumps and bruises. Some of it you just gotta have. It's the same as when you were a kid riding your bike and your mom and your dad flipped them training wheels up on you and knew that you was probably gonna crash. They had to let you crash a few times, otherwise you're gonna be on them training wheels forever. 8 years old with training wheels on. Now you're embarrassing yourself. You know what I'm talking about? That type of shit. So it wasn't that hard, but it took some time, and it does take a little know-how. Just uploading music and, filling in templates and all that shit. This is shit that people don't do every day. So when you going in and starting to do it, it could be intimidating.
Daunting, yeah.
Yeah, it could be intimidating. Although once you've got it done and you look back like, how many more albums we doing? Let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to get that experience in, man. And again, everything plays to patience. I can't say that enough. I have to say it a lot just to remind myself, because there's times I find myself wanting to skip the line 5-6 spaces. And, I know sometimes it just don't happen that way. Sit back, chill out, be patient, be diligent. It's going to be right.
Yeah, man, got to take it slow. Everything takes time, really does. Anything else, you want to leave us with about No Squares in My Circle? I would like to ask you favorite song, but, we just got that answer before. Favorite video, though. I know you can hit me with a favorite video.
Front Center.
Quite
Hands
a few
down.
videos from this one. Yeah,
Hands
that's a
down,
really
front
dope
center
one.
off this shit. Schemes killed that shit. The whole experience. Yeah. The whole experience of shooting that video. We pulled up to New York. We had the flat in Jersey, right across the fucking river. We had just came out with Bach State University around that time. We had the merch going. We had the cannabis going. It was cold as shit out there. We pulled up to Washington Heights, fresh off the plane.
In it.
Fresh off the fucking plane, pulled up to the Heights and started shooting like right the fuck away. Wow. So that video, that's going to be memorable. I could probably be old with dementia, and that's probably going to be, I could hear that song or see that video, and that should have bring me back to reality. So I think that's probably my favorite video off of there. There's, again, songs boil down to mood for me. Of course. That was a dope experience in my life doing that album.
Yeah, man, real collaborative album and process and building back and forth, right?
Yeah, definitely. Part 2 coming soon.
Okay. When I first moved out here, probably about a year ago, I actually went over to Tony T's studio, and
Shout out Tony T.
O Finess was there recording, and it was for No Squares in My Circle 2. There might be a part 2, 3, and 4. There's a lot of music between the camps, so we're looking forward to all of it.
Yeah, there's enough music right now to drop. There's enough music to drop multiple albums on everybody.
Oh yeah. Speaking of music, ready to drop, the next release, if I'm not mistaken, will be Highly Cool.
Highly Cool.
O Finess, Calico the Hitman.
Shit is dope. I was there for the process of that whole album, beat selections, features. The album is dope. Martha's is out right now, doing great numbers for for the brothers with Mussolini, doing magnificent numbers. Just those 2 songs alone kind of give you the texture of what that album is going to be about. I don't know if they're familiar with Cooley High, the influence behind the Highly Cool title and the whole
artwork and theme, sort of, right?
Yeah. Just the whole album is a theme album. So this is just Finesse really wanting to show his growth as an artist and a lyricist, and fucked around and did a whole themed out album. And the shit is dope. Again, all natural and organic. I mean, there's times where we've done shit and you can feel like you're forcing it. Those are the types of things that don't really make it to the light. These are everything we're releasing is natural. It's just coming. There's not a whole lot of fucking what do you think? It's listen to this. We're releasing that. That's coming out. You know what I mean? So we haven't really had the process where we got to record 50 to 100 songs to drop an album, you know, and pick 10 songs out of that and drop an album. It's usually, we might record 12 songs, 11 of them's on the album. Maybe 3 of them tops don't make it or something like that. So everything's been organic, and it's a blessing, bro. It's a blessing.
That's dope, man. So I believe the date got pushed back a little bit. When I first talked with Finess, you know, I think he said it was like the 29th, which is the date that you guys released the first single.
That's when we did yeah, you're right.
I believe that's sort of the rollout. And, you know, I like when artists sort of work the singles a little bit, give you a little bit of a hint. Is there any sort of insight you can give us about why it was pushed back, you know, reasons?
Because we want things to be organic. Trying to make that date happen was forcing it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we want to finesse the situation and force it.
Finesse, not force.
Let's go.
Of course.
Let's go.
So be on the lookout for that. We'll have the link below to support that. That'll be on all streaming platforms?
Yeah, I believe so. I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Don't quote me.
Don't quote you. It's all good. It'll be available, and you guys need to support independent art. That's what we're all about over here. So make sure you guys support. Something big that happened last year that I don't want to say took up a lot of your focus, but that, you know, was 7 News A&E was a big part of, was the Don and I tour.
Yeah. Shout out to Knife Wonder, Crisis, Swank Draft. Who else? Izzy was on that with us.
Izzy, Crisis.
Yeah, that was
a combo.
Yeah, that was a proud moment for me. I was entrusted with helping to put that together. Shout out to my homie over there, Breakpoint, Schwill. You know, I was my right-hand man with making all this shit happen. That was my first tour, man. I've never done a tour. That was going to be my question.
Before. First tour putting it together? I mean,
yeah,
what was that like?
First tour. I mean, I like it. This is things I dreamt of doing. Things I imagined that would come with the territory of doing music. Boom, I'm doing it. Like, so, you know, it's just been magnificent, man. Shout out to Beats, Eats, and Sneaks in the Springs, K. Chiba, Craftmatic, Cliff Cage. They supported the whole shit. You know, booked the show for the Springs, brought something to the city for the people to enjoy. All this shit is monumental, man, when you coming from Colorado, bro. So I'm super proud of everybody involved in this shit.
So you said this is something you imagined doing, you know, putting the tour together, going around different cities, stopping. What was the reality versus your expectations?
I will say this. I've done an interview before, and we really focused on what expectations are. I think my expectations are very grounded. So I don't expect, I would love to have grandiose, exuberant spectacularism, but I know that has to be worked for, and that don't always come out the gate, and I know that. So my expectations, everything that happened is well received. None of my expectations were let down because I didn't have any set expectations going in. I wanted to go in, get a feel for it, you know, accommodate my artists, accommodate the venues, accommodate the people, you know, give them a show, and that's what we did, man, and the shit was successful. So my expectation, I'm happy. I'm excited about it. You know, we got another date, the 21st of this month, Raleigh, North Carolina, at the what's that place called? I gotta look it up. Raleigh, North Carolina.
We'll link it.
Yeah, 21st.
More dates coming this year. The 21st is the one we know about, but is there more stuff in the works that we're thinking?
There's always something in the works, man. You know, we've been putting dates together as they come. We're constantly working, trying to put together other shows, other tours, more artists. So yeah, the work is not stopping. It might be quiet, but there's still a lot going on. There's a lot of motion going on.
Of course.
You don't hear atoms making sounds, but that don't mean they ain't there. You know, everything is composed of atoms, so the foundation is strong.
Do you have a favorite stop so far? Obviously, Colorado Springs was probably the most sentimental and meant the most.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite stop though?
Man, the craziest shit is my favorite stop is one that I didn't make it to. And it'd probably be the Viper Room in LA.
That's interesting. All right, so break that down.
I did not make it to LA for that show. I was in OKC, holding down the team from there. First off, it's the Viper Room. I don't know if you're familiar with LA Viper Room and the history of that. Go research it, look it up. I don't want to say nothing too much. Grand Combo was there. They're my little brothers, man. So they held it down. They really put on for the team in a historic spot. So I was super proud of that. I mean, it's fucking LA, man. This is where everything's for people leave where they're at because they feel like they're not making enough ground to go to fucking LA. Yeah. So just for us to be there and still be in the box and go over there and tear some shit up was monumental. I've been to LA plenty of times, so I know what the vibe is like, but that was probably one of my favorite stops that I did not make. I say runner-up would probably be Utah, man. Utah was a great show. What I liked about Utah was just the vibe of being in Utah. The Airbnb we had was fucking dope. Big Bro Ninth Wonder kicked it with us over there, stayed with us. We cooked up. I don't know what interview Moose did. Might have been with you, but he was talking about
O Finess and the steak
chefing
story.
up. Yeah, man, all those are classic moments. The crib was laid out. We had good weed to smoke. The fucking city was very reminiscent of Colorado Springs. Mountains right in the background. It was just, again, mood shit. The weather was just right. So that was probably one of my favorite stops that I actually made it to.
Let's talk about more music that is to come. I think I've been getting a little bit of hints on social media about Steady Eddie.
Yo, Steady Eddie. That's Eddie James' forthcoming album.
What can you tell us about it?
Not a whole lot, man. I don't want to say a whole lot of nothing, but it's going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. Sound bites. That's all I got for you.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. It's going to be crazy. We definitely want to make sure we don't want to miss anything with that one. Eddie James, a.k.a. Windsor James, came out of Springs at a young age. It's my little brother. Back in the day, a lot of my partners were skateboarders. My little brother was just my little brother. He wasn't skateboarding them, but he aspired to do it. And I can remember, a lot of friends like, what's up with your little brother, man? Like, what the fuck? And, he would come around just to try to soak up some, be a sponge, soak up some game, try to figure out what he wanted to do. And that little bit of exposure he got turned him into a pro skater, and put on for the city. He's a legend in the city. My little bro could pull up anywhere. Windsor, oh my God, you're Windsor's brother. All that type of shit. So
he was talking about that before. When we were at the video shoot, he went around to go get some coffee. He's like, bro, everybody's looking at me.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
just trying to do that.
The fact that he's gone from one profession at a high level to just popping up in a whole different profession with
it's amazing.
Virtually no prior experience, but at that level to where like, what? He's on the 9th album. He's just oops. That's a leak, I think. I mean, there's shit going on, you know what I mean? So we don't want to miss anything with that project. So, sometimes when you talk about shit too much and leave, put too much out in the universe, it could backfire on you or you end up missing something. Yo, stay tuned. We coming with it.
Steady Eddie, man. We're on the lookout. That's the first solo project from him, correct?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, man. So we're really looking forward to that. If you guys haven't, make sure you check out the Grand Combo album. That is composed of Blannco and Eddie James. And
self-titled. That's one of the illest albums ever to come out of the state of Colorado. It's probably one of the illest albums in the current state of hip-hop.
Yeah, that one is really dope. Grand Combo 2 possibly in the works
Works. It's in the works.
Okay.
Yeah, hell, I mean, it's in the works to where
everything. Hey, he was saying that things are working in the background. It's silent. You're hearing a little bit of what's rumbling, what's boiling in the background right now.
Yeah, Grand Combo 2 is coming. I mean, we've leaked a few things. The show that we did in the Springs on the Don Nine tour, they did a joint off of there. Hell, we might have done a couple joints.
Yeah, a few.
We're not, saying it's Grand Combo 2, so you just don't know, but you hearing some shit. So, Grand Combo 2's coming. That's just gonna be dope. I'm
2023 is looking to be
ready.
a big
2023 is looking crazy right now, man.
Nice.
Super crazy.
Nice, man. So talk about music release strategies nowadays. There's many different ways to do it. Streaming platforms sort of blurs the lines between the underground independent artists versus the mainstream, major artists. A lot of releases with the hip hop artists that I follow are through Bandcamp. That's the only place you could get them, and I love that you really need to support the art to get it. You can't just support a huge company and be get this game, if you will.
Right.
So talk about different music release strategies. You mentioned many times that, you want artists to get that experience. They got to do it on their own. But talk about different strategies and maybe some tips for artists nowadays that are just starting out, that are
I think the best tip I could really give is that you got to know how to play. Anybody can say they can play anybody could play some basketball, right? But there's only certain people who can really play some fucking basketball. Anybody can go out and dribble the ball, shoot some hoops and all that shit. But when it comes time to make some real plays, you might not have that. So I think the biggest piece of it, tip I can give is know how to make plays on the field. You got to know how to make plays because you can have a whole strategy lined out, and then you sit with the team, you get the whole strategy written out, figured out, and then the very next day, not even 12 hours later, something happens to where, oh shit, that's not gonna work. So if you were really just sold on just strategy alone, when a bump comes, now what? Now you're fucked. You don't know what to do because something came up and your strategy's not, you can't execute it that way now. So learn how to make plays on the field. Learn how to make calls. Learn how to circumvent certain things. Read ahead. They teach you that when you drive, don't just look at the car in front of you. You need to look at the lane in front of you, 10 cars down. Oh, they put their brakes on 200 yards down. That's going to trickle down to you having to brake soon. Just what's the word I need to use? You got to have some premonition about it. A little bit of premonition. Take your time to think your shit out good. Always go over your plan B, your plan C, your plan A 3 or 4 times. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You might have to. Something might happen on the spot, and you gotta find a way to come up with something.
You got to adapt.
Correct. So be willing to adapt, and it's easier to adapt if you went in already have thought of all these different scenarios, how they could play out or how shit could go. Be ready for it. That's what's really gonna help you. Mm-hmm. That's gonna help you more than just having a strategy. Mm-hmm. Just in our experience, I mean, we had to throw the strategy out the window multiple times. Scrap whole fucking songs, projects, all types of shit. Mm-hmm. Just because strategy won't work now because we didn't know this was gonna happen. There was no way to foresee that. So boom, boom. We already just know how to regroup and put shit together a different way. Play the game of Tetris. That'll help you get your minds. If your mind's boggled about how to get your strategies right and how to regroup and all that, play Tetris. That'll help you out.
I like that. I'm a Tetris guy myself.
That'll teach you how to put this on top of that, put this next to that one, put this corner over there. Mm-hmm. That'll help you get your shit together a little bit. It's not the total answer, but it'll help.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, gems all throughout this interview. Take notes, people. Get your notebook out. We talked about a lot of the music and albums and projects that you help put together. What albums do you take inspiration from? Maybe some albums that you go back to and listen to a bunch. Is there one specific one? We talked about Nas, like hey, Illmatic. There's like a certain bar, something is that where you're like, yo, we're always trying to meet that, trying to attain that.
There are some albums like that for me, man. One that's popping up in my brain right now is Diamond D and the Psychotic Neurotics, Stunts, Blunts, and Hip Hop. I don't know if you heard the stories from Fat Joe about that album. Apparently, Diamond D is another person who was making beats, and then one day he was like, yo, I'm about to drop an album. And then dropped the album that turned out to be a fucking hip-hop classic. I mean, I listen to that album to this day. So that's one of them albums that does that for me, man. A lot of different fucking albums. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of The King and I. It was a group, DJ Majesty. DJ Majesty was in the movie Juice. Okay. GQ was battling DJ Majesty in the DJ battle.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, DJ Majesty came from a group called The King and I. That was probably, that had to be like 91, 92, maybe 93, probably 91, 92. That's another album that just kind of clicks right away for me. I try to stay away from albums that everybody's expecting you to say, because it's just already built in, it's intrinsic, that it's there already. Sure. So I'm trying to give some light and some shine to some of those people who had the same type of influence. They might not have been around as long, but them albums, they stuck out there. So
still had a real impact.
Yeah, those are two albums that did it, man. Black Moon, Into the Stage. I mean, that's a classic album, period. You know, the whole Boot Camp Click shit, when their whole movement was super New York. You know, they was running fucking New York at the end of the day. Smith & Wesson with The Shine and Nocturnal from fucking Helter Skelter. Those are all albums that really, I mean, I listen to those albums to this day.
Nice, man. I love music. I love the music talk, and I'm gonna have to check out some of those.
Oh, you haven't heard all those?
Yeah, no, that Diamond D one, I'm not too sure of, man. I gotta do my Diamond D dive because I haven't done all of it. He released an album recently, like within the past 6 or 8 months that I listened to a few times. So I really enjoyed that. And one Diamond D lyric that sticks out, I believe, was on the Fugees. Not sure which song, but he says, "By far, I'm the best producer on the mic." So big shout out to Diamond D, legend, who's done a lot of great stuff, and we're gonna have to go do some more research.
Yeah, get that album.
So let's transition away from the music talk for a little bit, if we can. What are some of your other business ventures that you're involved in?
Oh man, there's a lot, bro. I just like to try to stay busy. The clock is ticking. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody's definition of success is different. For me, I think one of my biggest things is to be able to, when I'm dead and gone, I've left something behind for my family to be proud about and to be able to make a living off of. And that doesn't necessarily mean money. I do construction. We have a family construction business. I breed French bulldogs. That's something I like doing that shit. We're obviously in the cannabis game, cultivating, breeding, designing grows, that whole thing. We do that. I've ventured in so many things, bro. Apparel or merch or whatever you want to call it, clothing, fashion. We're into that. We're into the culinary arts. And these are all things that I actively do to this day. Some of it you might catch a show from. We might do a show out of it. Or, some of this stuff is just you're too busy working, doing the things to keep showing everybody every little piece of it. So, I'm also about living my life as well. Here's the music, boom. You're supposed to let people see that. But some of this stuff, I'm too busy working and trying to make it successful and taking care of everything with it to shoot you a video every time so you can see something. So, there's a lot, man. I mean, I dabble and still dabble in investments as far as stock markets and stuff like that. So there's a lot.
Nice, man. I need to expand my portfolio a little bit, so we're gonna have to talk outside of here and talk about some things for sure.
Yep.
So you mentioned the marijuana there, and Finess is always posting. He's got a beautiful farm out there. Can I call it a farm? What should I call it?
Farm, facility.
Beautiful facility out there. I remember seeing videos, when it was being built and put together that you were posting. So it's really cool to kind of see where it's at now and what's happening now. Things that you probably visioned for a long time to come together, going out to Oklahoma. Was there any sort of connection out there before?
So, I went out there scouting to do something on my own, just like some independent shit. Then I met up with some homeboys that we had out in the Springs from the Lazy Lion days. If you're not familiar with the Lazy Lion, look that up. That was some monumental, historic shit. You know, shout out to Porch. So some of my buddies from over there was already out there doing some things. You know, shout out to Paulie, my boy Luke. We just kind of connected and decided it was a good fit for us to work together, man. So we came together and you know, trying to do something great.
Cool, man. Hey, I need some more Pharaoh Don OG, man. That was some good stuff last time.
Yeah, that's still in the works. I don't want to say it's still in the works. It's there. But, you know, trying to get things to market, trying to have the right marketing to have it on market. Getting some shit on the shelf and putting it in the store is not that hard at all. But to get it there and have it really have a reputation, have it far reaching outside of just a local market or you want to be interstate or national market, yeah, that takes work. That takes work. So you want to have all your ducks in a row, because if you don't, it's very easy to throw some shit out there and it crashes and burns. And now you're like, so now you either get discouraged and quit, or now you got to start all over again. So again, that boils down to patience. Mm-hmm. You know, take your time. Let's do it right. Do it right the first time, so you ain't got to do it a second time. So Pharaoh Don OG is alive and strong. The shit's fire. I got some more shit going on right now with some other genetics coming out. These things take time, though. You know,
that Fly Us in the Fleet brand or what?
Hey, don't trip. We got some shit coming, man.
Okay.
We got shit coming.
That Steady Eddie strain. That sounds good, man. Rolls off the tongue nice.
That does sound good, huh? Smoking some Steady Eddie right now.
Yo, right? Well, we got to come up with one for Blannco too. You know, he's got some fly shit for sure.
Call that Panama White.
Hey, let's talk about that Gracias Á Dios album a little bit, man. That's one of my favorites from last year. That was released during the summer. I think actually the day before my birthday. So, you know, I was rocking with that.
Gracias Á Dios.
For a while. Talk about that album, man. That's a very unique project, to put it lightly.
Definitely a unique project. I think it's a standout project. So that project, Blannco been working on that project for a little while. And, you know, I had to teach him the virtue of patience, because that album could have been out maybe a year or so prior to when we actually released it, and it wouldn't have had that same bite on it as it does now. The album's dope. I mean, it's bilingual. I don't even want to say it's bilingual. He's bilingual, and he lets you know it on that album, but it's not necessarily
the album is him.
Yeah, it's not a bilingual album.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to describe it that way.
He executed very professionally on that shit, and he expressed himself. And holding that album back off the original release time he wanted to do it, actually he was able to see himself grow, and shit, put some of that art down even better than what he was able to do a year prior, just based on experience. So.
Phenomenal. On the gondola playing dominoes. They make you sit to your dominoes. Let's go. Vámonos. Call me Blannco. Padre y el Hijo y el Espíritu Santo. Baby, this ain't no Bella. Pod 3.15. Shout out to Patty LaBella. Keep the phone high for daddy with that I be dwelling. Never sweat, even in the vanilla chinchilla.
That's another project I'm super proud of. A lot of these albums have been digital, but I think we're gonna go back through the catalog, and if it's not coming by way of cassette or CD or vinyl, I mean, there's nothing else after that. But you know, I think we're definitely.
You never know
back.
what's gonna NFT, bro. Who knows? You know.
Yeah, I thought about that too, man. There's a lot of different ways. I mean, motherfuckers is a flash drive you some music. You buying flash drives with whole albums on
people
them
do like a merch drop, and it's like you buy the hoodie, you get the album too, you know. So there's very different ways to market and release music, really.
Right? Yeah. Gracias Á Dios definitely deserves a physical. The shit's dope. There's still a couple visuals in the bag for that. That's still coming.
Hey, Be on the lookout again.
We're not done. It might be quiet, but that don't mean there ain't shit happening.
Awesome. I love it, man. You talked a little bit about being involved in culinary a little bit. Conversations with TMac. We talk a lot of music. We like to talk food as well. Yep. So give me some of your favorite food spots in Colorado Springs and Colorado in general.
I ain't gonna lie to you. As of late, man, one of my most favorite food spots in Colorado Springs, my fucking house. I've been chefing up for these past few weeks.
Is that a diss to the restaurants or just a big up to what you're doing?
It's a diss to the restaurants. I think the problem with Colorado in terms of culinary is there's a lot of corporate box restaurants. That's true. Oversaturated with fucking big corporate restaurants, and that shit is, at the end of the day, that shit is not real food. It just don't taste the same as when you get it cooked at home. Like, fried chicken at home and fried chicken at Popeyes are not the same fucking thing. They're nowhere fucking close. So I'm grinding right now in my brain not to fucking choke up. I'm trying to think about where there's some really good restaurant spots in Colorado Springs that I would want people to really go check it out. There's a couple. There's this place called 503 West.
Ooh, I've been there. I went there with Moose.
That was address, 503 West Colorado Avenue. That's a dope spot. Again, that's not a box store though. That's privately owned. She's a dope owner. I think they just opened another little restaurant or something like that. It's in a place called The Well, which is off of Weber. It's kind of like a cafe with a fucking bar in it, and then there's these individual kitchens in it. Each kitchen is a different business.
That's pretty cool.
Dope food over there. What's the place called? They got this shit called the Bulgogi Hoagie. That shit is fire. I think it's called Done Son. I think that's their other little restaurant. That place is dope. Yeah, bro.
Hey, that's good enough for my next trip.
You won't be mad
I mean?
going to 503 West. I might blurt out later on before we finish this interview, like, oh, this spot, if it comes to me.
We'll link it. We'll link it below. All right, we'll let you guys know. Basement. Anything else you want to leave the people with before we wrap up?
Man, just stay determined. Try to keep yourself. Do things to keep yourself in a happy place about your ventures. Because they ain't always gonna be it ain't always gonna be easy. Things won't always fall right in place. To keep your energy up, you gotta deal with a lot of different people, a lot of different energy types, and that shit could drain you. So in the face of all that, you still have to find a way and maneuvers to keep your energy up, to keep you going. So, stay strong, stay diligent, and super cliche, but believe in yourself.
And we're going to end it right there. Basement, thank you so much for coming through, man. I appreciate it.
Peace.
Can't you tell, baby? Yeah, this is what it look like. It look right. Keeps it wavy, my mind. Yeah. Don't be crazy about the
Green come with a new wave, guy. That's right. The bars sound like an AR. On my job every day, no days off.
Not me.
Never heard about a layoff. Your bitch on my coattail. I told the